Konnichiwa, hajimemashite, kunyoji desu, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. And today I've got something very special for you guys. We are taking a look at the German premium Tier 8 light tank, the leKpz M41 90mm, or known as the Black Bulldog. Pretty much the Black Bulldog nickname came from when this tank was first released in the PC. It had black camo, and pretty much it was to celebrate the time that because during that time there was actually a Wargaming Cup that happened, and they gave it a black camo for that to celebrate the festivities. But moving on, before I continue reviewing this tank, I'd like to say thank you to my good friend Sturban for gifting me this tank. The way he gifted me this was that he gave me a Steam card which was worth enough to purchase the leKpz. So using it, I was able to purchase it, and voila, I have it on my garage. So I'd like to say thank you to you once again, man. You're the best. A shout out. And he's also another YouTuber, another friend of me and Thor. So I will leave a link of Sturban's channel down below. You guys could watch some of his epic videos. He makes also some Unicum guides as well. So I hope you guys enjoy his Unicum guides as well. So on with the guide. Looking at the leKpz, it's simply amazing, to be honest. I've played a few battles on it, and to be honest, it's really just something that I'm really comfortable of playing it. It's my favorite Tier 8 light tank. I like it a lot more. I definitely love it a lot more than the T49. The T49, it's really that fun, but with the nerf that came with it, it's not as fun as it was before, but it's still somehow workable. But I just prefer the leKpz at the moment because it's more of a true light tank. It scouts and it also does flanking very, very comfortably. It's got a very workable gun depression. The mobility is amazing. It's also got a lot better HEP. It also gets HEP rounds, which, as you can see here, it gets HEP rounds which function like HESH rounds, only that it doesn't have that much high penetration as you would see in British HESH rounds. But as you can see, if we'll compare the RU, if we'll compare it with the RU, it only has like 225 alpha. The gun for a 90mm is a lot better. The 90mm on the gun on the leKpz is a lot better than on the RU, given that it has a lot better alpha. But there are still some drawbacks, as we'll see later in the comparison. So pretty much aside from that, it's a true light tank. It functions, it's really comfortable that it can use medium tank strategies of flanking, but it does it a lot way better, and that I'd really fully be more comfortable in bringing this to a Tier 9 battle than any other light tank that I've ever played. The armor is really nothing to, there's no comment on the armor except maybe that it has a mantlet. We'll get to that later as we see the armor profile, because pretty much it has 25mm all around, so pretty much every HE shell is bound to really penetrate you, so you're gonna have to always be careful, and as well as you're gonna have to be careful in choosing your avenue of advance, and taking into consideration that you couldn't really stand that much long, and that you're obviously a light tank, you really couldn't take that much shot, so you're gonna have to rely on your mobility, which this thing has. It has decent mobility. It goes 72 like the normal Bulldog, but it doesn't have that much good horsepower per ton, as we'll get to that later. So anyway, that's enough opinion taking. Let's go take a look and compare this tank with the other Tier 8 light tanks, and as well as taking a look at it at the armor profile. So putting into consideration the equipment, the provisions, as well as the average round that every tank fires, we can see that the leKpz has a lot better DPM than the AMX, the T49, or the T54 lightweight, but the Panzer RU has a lot more DPM. In terms of penetration, the leKpz beats every tank in this class, except maybe for the RU, because I could see that there's only a 2mm difference between the RU's gun and the leKpz's 90mm. For the alpha, the leKpz gets a lot better alpha for a 90mm gun. Basically, the Panzer and the M41 gets both are 90mm guns, but definitely the alpha on the leKpz is a lot better. It gets a lot better alpha than the AMX as well, and not the T49, given that the fact that it fires 152mm of shells, and it and it's not that much good compared to the alpha of the lightweight as well. Rate of fire, it gets a lot better. It's better than the AMX, the T49, and the lightweight, but it's not as good as the RU's rate of fire. Reload time, the RU reloads faster, but the leKpz beats every tank in this class here. Shell velocity wise, in terms of how fast your shells are going to hit targets, the leKpz gets its shells a lot faster to hit than on the RU or the T49, but definitely not as fast as the lightweight or even the AMX 390. Aiming time, the leKpz has a lot better aim time than the RU251, the T49, or even the lightweight, but it's not as good as the AMX. Accuracy wise, the leKpz pretty much doesn't have the good accuracy compared to the RU251, the AMX, or the lightweight, but it sure as hell that it's a lot better than the T49 given the fact that it fires a derp. Gun depression wise, the leKpz doesn't have that much good gun depression and the elevation as what you can see on the RU or the T49, but it gets a lot better depression elevation than the AMX or of course the T54 lightweight. Mobility wise, we can see that the leKpz has a lot better speed, has a lot better top speed than the AMX or the lightweight, but it's not as good as the RU, and it's on par with the T49. Power to rate ratio, now this is something where leKpz stays back compared to the other four light tanks because it only gets 23.76 horsepower per ton, which means that it's gonna take some time for it to get its top speed compared to the other tanks, but it surely is workable. But for the terrain resistance, this is where the leKpz gets on top of the other four, in which it could be able to traverse into a lot of more soft spots compared to the other four light tanks. View range wise, we can see that the leKpz doesn't have that much good view range comparing it with the AMX or the Spa-Panzer RU, but it's on par with the T49 and the lightweight. Armor wise, pretty much no comment on here. It's pretty much there's just nothing that much I could talk about except that the lightweight has a lot better armor than all of these four tanks, given the fact that it is basically a T54, but it's only a lighter version. Now let's go compare the leKpz with the ordinary M41 Bulldog to see how it compares with the normal one. So we're comparing the leKpz with the M41 Bulldog, and as you can see, it's got a lot better DPM, penetration, and the alpha, but given that the caliber of the leKpz is a 90mm, it's a lot heavier than the Bulldog 76mm. It's got less rate of fire and reload, and as well as the shell velocity. Aiming time, it's definitely better on the leKpz. The dispersion, it's better on the M41 Bulldog. It's not as good as the one on the leKpz. Movement, it's basically the same here, but the Walker Bulldog has a lot better power to rate ratio, given that the fact that the leKpz is a lot heavier than the Walker Bulldog, due to the fact that it carries a lot bigger it has a larger caliber of gun. The terrain resistance is also a lot noticeably better on the ordinary Walker Bulldog than the leKpz M41 90mm, and the armor, nothing much to talk about that. Now let's go take a look at the armor profile of the leKpz M41 90mm. Now we are taking a look at the armor profile of the leKpz M41 90mm, and as you can see, all around it's very extremely thin, so pretty much every HE round is going to go through on you. Nothing is really going to stop, even when you try to actually slope it. But in some certain situations, maybe you can try to bounce, or pretty much when people are trying to shoot you on this angle here, it's getting a maximum of 200 to 300, as you can see here, and it also gets a mantlet that has like around 42 to 39mm of spaced armor, so pretty much it may sometimes either bounce or it may negate some shells, but still, the armor here is nothing to talk about. I just wanted to show that it still has some mantlet. It's still quite useful when you're going hold down. It will bounce some shots, but you shouldn't probably rely on it. So after we've compared the leKpz with the other tanks, and as well as taking a look at the armor profile, what we could say is that with the leKpz, you're always supposed to choose your engagements carefully. You can either scout or you can either go flanking. Situations arise, and if you really want to make an outcome of every game that you play, you're gonna have to utilize that good gun, that okay gun depression, and at sometimes that trollish gun mantlet. And aside from that, you can always utilize the mobility as well, given that this is also a light tank. So when situations arise that you get into a sticky situation, just always get out of there and try to find another avenue of advance where you can try to take on the enemy team, or rather every solo enemy tank. So that's enough theory crafting. Let's go take a look at some gameplay. Okay, Momo is really excited right now. So anyway, we are at Fort Despair, and I am going in my favorite spot of this map, where I normally go in my light tanks, mainly that one, and I'm hoping that I'm able to scout the enemy team as well. So I occupy this bush here. So far I haven't spotted anyone. We have a good decent view range of 290, so pretty much we can spot, and unfortunately our team just spots the whole enemy team there. And pretty much they're all going in there because the team is heavy. So pretty much I decided to take the initiative of going ahead here. But unfortunately we spot this AMX. We back off. I really couldn't take on the AMX, so I don't want to expose myself too much. And I knew that the AMX could actually take me out somehow. So we decided to just push in. We load in HEP. Can we try to high roll on him? 279 roll, not bad. We reload, we back off. Can try to fire him. Unfortunately we couldn't because he was pushing, and that we are already extending the limit of our gun depression there. So I shift my focus on this Pershing, who decides to try to take on this super Pershing. We decide to give a helping hand here. Can I try to finish him off? We're trying to finish off this Pershing. Yes, we can. And unfortunately this AMX 3090 wants more. He absolutely wants me, so come on, let's not disappoint him. Come on. So we load in HEP and high roll, 310. We try to finish him off. Big regret there, Mr. AMX. Big regret. So anyway, we shift our focus onto this Tiger 2, or rather this Lava. We load in AP. So we decide to hide in again. Now this was a miscalculation over here. As you can see, right about this part, I loaded in HEP, and I was aware that the Tiger 2 had like 100mm of side armor, so pretty much it's not going to work there. It's not going to high roll that much. It will only do some splash damage, yeah. So we shift our focus onto this M6. I load in HEP rounds. We loaded on that. We loaded on that M6. We took a shot from the Predator, but still we high roll on that. We high roll on that M6. Can try to finish off this Predator. Unfortunately, we couldn't because he gets finished off. And can we put a shot on this Yike Panther 2? Can we? So that was quite of an absolute okay of an round. You guys saw just how the Black Panther could be a very helpful support, especially when that Super Pershing was taking on that Pershing as well, and as well as how effective it could be to actually shoot HEP rounds on the side or on the rear. But in some certain situations, that HEP rounds really wouldn't work on some tanks that have 100mm on the sides. Do note that. So that was quite of an okay round. Let's go take a look at the after battle stats. So that was an okay round. That was not bad. We dealt 2,168 damage. We destroyed 2 tanks. We picked up 1,417 experience and making 102,877 credits. But we only made a profit of 74,000 due to the fact that we were firing gold, and we also picked up a Confederate medal for firing on all of the enemy team as well. We're also on the top of the list in terms of the damage, but for the experience, the Super Pershing gets the trophy on this one. So guys, what you guys saw is that pretty much you're gonna have to choose your engagements there. And another thing is that when you guys are facing tanks that could outmatch you, like maybe that AMX, do make sure that you're gonna have to avoid those confrontations, and as much as possible pick another engagement. So that's enough of that. Let's go into some more gameplay. Okay, Momo-chan is really having fun right now. So anyway, we're playing at Naval Frontier here, and it's basically my favorite map, and we're going on my favorite spot as well. Mainly that one, because it provides us the avenue of advance over there, a vision of the avenue of advance for the enemy team, and pretty much you can either snipe or you can spot here. Basically a very good spot. So when you're going on your light tanks, do make sure you can always occupy on the spot. Now, as we notice that we haven't spotted really that much, and we see that the enemies on the other side over there, they didn't push on that avenue of advance, so pretty much we wasted the time there. So I decided to just go pick another spot where I can put some shots on them. Now this is where a good flanking tank comes into play. It's you're sniping and you're flanking at the same time. We load in HEP. We roll 297 on that RU. We load in HEP again, and we deal 333. And unfortunately, we get spotted because of that. And we shift our focus. We still remain there. We remain our focus, but unfortunately, our HEP rounds didn't really roll that high. We roll high on that leKpz though, and unfortunately, this RU shoots us, dealing 233 on us. But still, we're gonna have to keep up on the pressure here. And unfortunately, I decided to just call it off after rolling very low there. We seriously need to pick up another spot here. So we decided to go on to another bush. As I can see, there's another bush over there. You can see that I decided to remain my focus on them because I really wanted to take them out as much as possible. We high roll on that RU. We deal 339. Can we finish off this leKpz though? We can. Can we finish off the RU? We still reload in HEP. Can we? No, not quite, as we low roll. So I shift my focus on these two heavies here. Pretty much, they're gonna flank us any moment now. Unfortunately, we get set on fire, but it gets extinguished thanks to automatic fire extinguisher. And unfortunately, ouch! We took a nasty shot there. So I decided to just really back off. I decided to put my efforts on the other side where the T-28 is. And as you can see that my platoon mate is in the bottleneck over there, that's not really a good place that you want it to be. So as much as possible, don't try to do that error. So we shoot all through the gap and we deal damage on the Tiger 1. I shift my focus on this AM6. I load in heat. Can we try to penetrate him? Can we? Yes, we can. Can we try to finish him off? Come on, reload. No, not quite. So anyway, there's only 3 tanks left, and we decide to just put the pressure on them. And as you can see, this Panther 2 is showing his side of the turret. Now we see that we high roll. Now let me pause it for just a moment. You guys saw that the Panther 2 is showing on the side of his turret there. I decided to load in HEP because I was sure that I could probably high roll on this thing, given that the damage indicator is really not covering on the side of his turret. Means that I could really high penetrate it, or rather deal a lot of damage in there with high explosives. So one thing to note, if you guys are loading in HEP and you're doing flanking actions, when this happens, always make sure that there's no damage indicator on that side of the armor or that part of the tank, to ensure that you can always ensure a high roll in your HE or HESH rounds every time when you're playing tanks that have HESH or HEP rounds. Sorry for the mispronunciation there, but anyway, let's continue watching. Can we try to finish him off? Unfortunately we don't, but we high roll 316. Can we try to finish him off now? Unfortunately we don't. T-28 finishes him off. Now pretty much this is already just a mopping part of the game. So this T-28 decides to come around the corner. I load in heat. Can we finish him off? And we finish him off. So to summarize what had happened on this battle, we initially went onto the bush on the middle near the cap, in hopes of trying to go spot the enemy team going onto the avenue of advance on that mountain over there. But unfortunately, they didn't come around that corner as they were spotted on the other side. Majority of them were on the other side. So we stopped using that bush. We decided to take the initiative. We decided to go pick a bush on the other side, on that side over there. We decided to provide some flanking sniping. So we sniped until we managed to somehow get both of those light tanks. And then when we saw that there were 2 heavies pushing around, we decided to just push out of there. We decided to just pull out of there, and then we decided to re-engage, and somehow we managed to put the battle in our terms. So that was an absolute beast of a round there. Let's go take a look at the after battle stats. So what an incredible round we've got. We dealt 2,891 damage, we destroyed 2 tanks, we got 1,561's worth of experience, and 105,480 credits made, but unfortunately we fired gold, so we only made a profit of 69,000, not too bad, and we also picked up another Confederate medal. And we also gathered the most damage than anyone on the team, as well as gathering the most number of experience than anyone on the team as well. Now after we have compared this tank, and as well as we have taken a look at how this tank plays in some gameplay, maybe it's time to come to the question, is the tank worth it? Well, the leKpz is currently priced at $35. The bundle that didn't come with the camo only is priced at $35, and pretty much that's already very expensive for a tank. The cruel twist bundle is priced at $45, and pretty much that's really just a no zone for me at the moment. So if you guys are looking into invest in getting a leKpz, I would really recommend that you guys just get the tank itself, and as well as the other amenities that came with it, and just don't take the cruel, because it only just adds for appearance. And to be honest, I really prefer tanks that don't have special camo, unless that it's just something that really it's something that I really appreciate. So overall, I'd fully recommend to play this tank. It's amazing, it's absolutely awesome, and so far, if you guys are really looking for a true light tank experience, or maybe just you guys wanted to play like a light tank that has a jack of all trades characteristics, then this tank is for you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if it was, please consider giving it a like down below, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of the leKpz down in the comments below. And also, I will be starting to do some commentaries on your gameplays as well. I will leave every description down in the description bars below. You guys go ahead and just read what you guys need to do for the commentary videos. Then just send it on to the email address that I will leave in the description below. And thank you so much guys for watching. You've all been epic, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video in the battlefield.